Howdy there, folks. Welcome to the My Thoughts video of Kirby's Dreamland. Sorry, I'm a few days late, but, you know, I got busy. It happens. Get over it. I'm kidding. Anyway, so there isn't an extra video for Kirby's Dreamland because the only thing that's extra that I would show off is the hard mode, but I'm saving that because I'm actually going to do a playthrough of that eventually. I swear I am because I'm very familiar with it and it's very fun. Also, I love the ending part where King DDD is throwing a tantrum. That is just freaking hilarious. Anyway, though, because there is no extra video, there is going to be a My Thoughts video. So, which is this one, of course. Why am I saying that? Anyway, this game has so much unbelievably good music. I'm serious. I muted my commentary, what, three times or so? Well, technically only twice. The middle time was because there was a boss rush and I didn't really want to commentate. Well, technically there was like 2 seconds of level in between each boss, but you saw it pretty clearly. There was no need for me to talk about it. Anyway, because this game's music is so good, I felt so bad talking over it. I almost wish that I almost think that maybe I'll upload the playthrough without me talking at all, just so you guys can hear the music. But then at the same time, I just encourage you to look it up. The fact that the music is so good for an original Game Boy game. I mean, I've mentioned this before, I think, but I don't have a lot of memories of the original Game Boy games because I purposely got a Game Boy game, a Game Boy to play Pokemon. That is the game that made me want to get a Game Boy. And a funny story, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not during the playthrough, but I'll mention it again anyway. My stories are fantastic. You'll enjoy it. So, like I just mentioned, I wanted to get a Game Boy because I wanted to get Pokemon. When I went and got the Game Boy, though, the store didn't have any Pokemon games left because they were sold out. Like, seriously, Pokemon was sold out for weeks. I had to ask them to reserve a copy of the game until they got it back in, so that way I could get it. However, though, in the meantime, because I didn't want to just have a Game Boy and no game, my parents, by parents I mean my mother actually was the one who did it, but my mother got me Kirby's Dreamland. And, oh, I love this game so much. It is so much fun. And, yeah, I'm actually really glad that I got that I had to wait a bit for Pokemon, because if I wouldn't have, I probably never would have played this, and I think that would be a shame. This is a very, 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 very fun game. Anyway, though, on to the actual My Thoughts. I already mentioned the music, so I'm not going to talk about that right now. Gameplay-wise, I already mentioned this. This Kirby game and all other Kirby games, to be honest, are really, really, really easy. That is a major downside to this game, is that it's so easy. And it's even easier than a lot of later Kirby games because Kirby's broken. He can fly infinitely and he can kill pretty much everything. Pretty much everything by just spitting out a puff of air. That being said, though, the game is so much fun. The game is so much fun to play, and so the difficulty, it really doesn't matter. Plus, the game is so fast. Which, I have kind of the same feeling about that as I do the DuckTales video, or the DuckTales game, because you gotta remember, this was on, like, one of the very first handheld systems. At least one of the first ones that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure there may have been other ones, but this is, like, the big one that I know of. And unlike how it is now with DS games, or with DS's, or even if you go back to the Game Boy Advance SP, the original Game Boy, you had to play in a very, very well-lit area. Like, I couldn't play the Game Boy outside, because, I don't know, there's something about the sun. It was just glaring on the screen all the time, and I could never see what I was doing. And the batteries didn't last super, super long. I mean, they lasted longer than, say, a Game Gear, but they still didn't last super long. And because of this, I actually think that the game being short is actually a very good thing. Because you gotta figure, you know, you can only play in a very nicely lit environment, and, you know, it's on a handheld system. That really limits, like, where you can play and for how long. Because of that, I think it's good that the game is short, because you can get through the whole entire game before you have to leave, or go somewhere else, or something, you know, do something else. So I actually think it's a good thing that the game is short. So yeah, boss-wise, they're easy. A lot of them you can beat without ever getting hit. I mean, without very much difficulty. About any difficulty, to be honest. Anyway, though, the game is fan-freaking-tastic, especially for an original Game Boy. I can't stress that enough. It is just so fantastic. Now, the awesome thing about this game, I'm not sure if it's on WiiWare, I have to check, but I do know that it is on the 3DS shop. Yeah, which is probably the best place to get this. The 3DS and I think maybe even the DSi. But it is in those shops, on the DSi and on the 3DS. I don't know how much it costs, I'd have to check, but I recommend looking at it if you actually think that you want to try this game, which I recommend, because that is probably the best way to play this game. Anyway, I want to take a little bit to actually talk about the Kirby franchise as a whole, like the whole entire Kirby series. I mentioned that a lot of people I know don't like Kirby games because they're so easy. All the Kirby games are easy. I've yet to play one that is hard. I haven't played all of them. In fact, I've actually only played a few, but I haven't played one at all that is actually hard. And this bothers a lot of people. It's probably because Kirby can fly. You can take, like, I don't know, 6 hits or so. And they're very easy games. I actually think this is a good thing. One, the games are super fun. They always have great music. But I actually think it's a good thing that these games are easy. The reason why is because, not everybody is super great. It's, like, unbelievably good at video games. This is something a lot of people forget as they get older, like gamers. They seem to forget that there was probably a time when they sucked too. Like when they weren't very good at games. Having easy games like this that are still incredibly fun to play is a very good thing in my opinion, because this Kirby game is a game that anybody can play and have fun with. I mean anybody. Okay, it is a very easy game. All Kirby games are. They're super fun. They have so much personality, and they're always so super colorful, even when they're in black and white. It's a very colorful game. And game series as a whole, and I actually think it's a good thing. I think people who are hung up on the fact that they're easy, yeah, they're easy, but they're really fun, and if you want hard games, there's more than enough of those. There are not actually very many super easy games that are mainstream and that are super fun to play. I'm serious, I have not found very many that are unbelievably easy, that are mainstream, and that are very fun to play. That's what makes Kirby such a good game series. And I think that it's a very good thing. I have a lot of friends who are not very good at video games, and this is a game that pretty much all of them can play without any trouble. So yeah, the Kirby franchise, it's easy, but it's really fun, and anyone can play it. I think it's a good thing. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that. This actually concludes most of the My Thoughts video. Actually, that pretty much concludes everything I have to say, except that I freaking love King DDD. I want to go ahead and say that I'm going to be tackling as many Kirby games as I can throughout the future. It won't be all one after another, of course, because I still got to do Pokemon Red, Chrono Trigger. I got a bunch of other games that I don't think very many people have played or even heard of that I'm going to do. And yeah, it's a very fantastic game series. I'm going to try and play as many of them for you guys as I can. Hopefully I can get them all. You never know. Anyway, though, I'm Gene the Pink Panther. This was the My Thoughts video for Kirby's Dreamland. Stay tuned for Pokemon Red. I'm going to be doing that next, I swear. I swear it's going to be coming. It's going to be coming next. Anyway, I'll see you all later.